Hey friends, this is Buddy Fitzgerald here in the jungle of Peru. I'm driving down a bumpy road right now, which is kind of how most of our roads are. But I have been asked to give you some Spanish tips or some basic Spanish lessons. So let me help you out with that a little bit today. Right now it's morning here, so we would say buenos dias. You can say buenos dias. So that's an important word, and in Latin cultures it's important to greet just about everybody you meet, at least in most Latin cultures. So buenos dias is very important. Then when you get into the afternoon, you would say buenas tardes, good afternoon. So that's, again, an important one every time you meet somebody, especially the first time you meet them in a day. And then in the evening, you would say buenas noches. So that could be good evening or good night. Buenas noches. So those are all really important greetings. Let me go over a couple of the things with you that you can use. For instance, you might also say to someone, besides saying good morning or buenos dias, you could also say hola. Hola is just like hi. So you can use hola. Let's see, you can also use ¿cómo estás? That's another greeting that is pretty common. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? And if you're speaking to an older person or maybe a very respected person, you might say ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo está usted? So that's kind of, again, a term of respect. So, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo está usted? And so those would be pretty important too. If you, let's say you're leaving a place in Mexico, you might say adios, which, if you think about it, the word for God is Dios. But if you're saying adios, it's almost like saying till God. In other words, it's almost like we might not meet again. So I know that's common in some countries, and you're certainly welcome to use it there. In Peru, almost nobody uses adios. You would often say hasta luego. So that's kind of like until we see you later, right? Until later. So you would say hasta luego. Another one would be maybe hasta mañana. So that would be until tomorrow. Hasta mañana. So another really common one that you could use almost any time in Peru is just ciao. Ciao. So I think that may come from Italian, I'm not sure, but it's used all over the country of Peru. So they just say ciao. So those are some of the words you might use on a regular basis as far as greetings here. And so remember, you would say buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? Or ¿cómo está usted? You might say buenas tardes, good afternoon. You might hear something like ¿cómo se encuentra? That's kind of like how do you find yourself, or how are you doing? So ¿cómo se encuentra? Or buenas tardes, ¿cómo se encuentra? Another common one would be ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? And different Spanish countries will produce that double L. The beginning of the word llamas is a double L. And so some people would say that in different ways. Some countries would say more of the llamas, ¿cómo te llamas? And some countries would just produce it sort of like a Y, or some countries would use the kind of the pronunciation you would hear in William. That double L in William would be sort of similar. So some would say ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? And that's kind of how we would say it here in Peru. So that's what's your name? Or another way to say that is ¿cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Which is your name, or what is your name? And literally, ¿cómo te llamas? is how are you called? So anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. Just a few basic greetings in Spanish, and maybe we'll get to some more later. Anyway, thanks guys. God bless. Bye-bye.